Hello, guys. I'm Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with another beautiful, lovely. Sometimes she will make me a sandwich, Yanzi Lynn.
Hello.
And today is the day we're talking a little bit about the fallout of the American comic book industry as news develops about new ventures that creators have options, I guess. So Yanzi brought this to my attention. Coming from the New York Times, a new publishing platform for comic books will give creators a greater stake. Now, bookmark that, a greater stake in their creations. Look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. If you watch this channel, you will realize I talk often about the mainstream comic book industry as it's been falling apart since the coof, and how like creators really we realized when they said pencils down how shitty of a deal the American comic book industry is, and how they don't have our backs. They take everything from us to make videos, games, movies, TV, toys, action figures, all that great stuff, guys, comes from a 20-page comic that we put our life's blood into, and we don't own a freaking thing. And then we all of a sudden everybody took note. Oh, manga's kicking our teeth in. Look at the sales. But then closer examination, the manga creators actually benefit from the creations. They actually get money in IP, right? They get money from toys and stuff, right, Yanzi?
Yeah, they pretty much own everything. People say, oh, they have a lot of creative freedom. Yeah, that's true. They kind of can decide what direction they want their stories to go in, and they get to decide when they want to end it. They're not driven by this need to say, oh, we need to keep Batman under our copyright protection, so we keep making new Batman stories all the time. Oh, it's the same. Joker kills a bunch of people and Batman chases after him again. Well, it's okay. We still need it anyway. So yeah, that's how it is.
And what this is built and bred in the average work for hire agreement type of creator, the freelancer, is this apathy of story and story again about estates, the children, the idea of working for Marvel and DC and knowing that my child may have to go to court with them for monies I was not paid for a video game. Think about that. It's pretty scary. You know what's easier than going to court with a company like AT&T or Discovery or Warner Brothers, whatever the hell it is, or Disney, the mouse? You know what's easier? Just not giving them anything, not giving them a good character design, not giving them that awesome action figure, that great big new Spider-Man villain. There's a reason that we don't see new villains for these characters that we to fight. It's like, was there just this flood of creative designs that came in during like 80 years ago, or is it just that we know better? As being the average Joe on the street, we have access to the internet. We've heard these stories about the Siegel and Schuster lawsuit, stuff like that. Why do creators try to go from working on Batman, the top-selling comic at DC Comics, Court of Owls, to then trying to run over to Amazon, like Scott Snyder here, running over to Amazon to do creative books up under the Amazon. I mean, how do you go from Batman and Dark Knight's Metal to this? Well, obviously you're not getting paid enough. And this one's really strange because if you go to Walmart or Target this holiday season, you will see Dark Knight's Metal Todd McFarlane action figures all over the shelf for DC Comics. But the creators of it are working at Amazon because the money is better anywhere else than DC Comics. So back to Zestworld. What is Zestworld? Well, this is a new venture, which looks like it's going to be a group of comic creators, right? That are basically being funded by some, I guess, what I would call startup tech money, like one of the
Angel
investors,
investors. Yeah.
angel
So
investors.
So Zestworld is a new subscription-based platform that is set to be introduced in early 2022, and they will allow comic book writers and artists to present new works and reap the benefits and help monetize their creations if they're made into collectibles or adapted for TV, movies, or other medias. The creators will be stockholders in the company. Hang on, am I reading that right?
Stockholders. That's a nice way of saying that you will have an investment in the property, but you're not an owner. Now, what's interesting about this is if we scroll to the bottom of and I want to bookmark this, but if we go all the way to the bottom of the article, Jimmy Palmiotti actually refers to it as something else. What does he say?
They came to us, which is, Zestworld investors, and said, "You guys can do whatever you want. We want you to create some comics and characters. You guys own them, you guys control them." Okay,
So,
so wait, you're stockholders, which would imply that, you kind of have like a percentage say. But then here Jimmy is saying that you own them and you control them. Now, as far as I know, every stockholder has an individual vote, which means that no one stockholder controls anything in the company, you know? So how does
right.
this work exactly? Who is telling the truth at this point? That's the question.
Right, and it maybe isn't so much down to a truth, but like what somebody sees as what they identify as the business situation. This could vary from creator to creator, to be honest. I don't think there's going to be one because they're not putting this deal out there in the public's eye. If you take a company like Image Comics and you go to their submissions part on their website, it will clearly state you own whatever that, there's X amount of money that you owe them for production costs and something like that. But after that, it's you're the creator 100%. So a situation like this this is kind of murky, and I would actually assume, and I'm not in the assuming game, but if I had to assume something, I would say depending on the creator and how well they're at negotiating things and how bad Zestworld maybe wants the property, that this is a different situation per individual book, individual creator. Now, some of the creators that are listed in this involved right now are actually people. Some of the people I they were working on DC projects that have not seen the light of day. So obviously, I'm thinking those projects either fell through or they just haven't been announced and released yet. But the takeaway is they're not being hired for more. So Jimmy Palmiotti has been vocal. We've talked about it. He's a guy that's done a lot of Kickstarters, a lot of crowdfunding books. So he's no stranger to doing things on his own. A creator-owned book he did with Jimmy Palmiotti did with Joe Quesada back in the day was Ash from Event Comics. That was a big creator-owned book of theirs back in the 90s. I'm pretty sure that would be the 90s or late 80s, but 90s, I'm pretty sure. So they look, he knows creator-owned stuff. Okay, he has sunken in a lot of time and done a lot with Harley Quinn for DC Comics, and you're talking about his version of a character that's seen what, like 3 4 movies, like
Mm-hmm.
counting Suicide Squad 2. And where is he doing more for DC? No. He's looking to do, creator owned stuff either on Kickstarter or whatever this new venture is. Now, some of the other people being mentioned here, more DC talent. Segura used to work at DC. Peter Tomasi, Super Sons, Green Lantern Corps, Batman, things like that.
Of course, Phil
Bill,
Jimenez as well.
yeah. So Amanda Connor, Eric Canetti, who just ran a crowdfunding book. So I find that peculiar. Not
Hmm.
sure what to make of that. I hope it's not the because this is digital.
So let's quickly clarify though. Zestworld is actually going to be this subscription-based platform, and it's going to be digital first. So it kind of sounds similar to Substack, doesn't it, dear?
Right. The Substack model. And digital is this interesting thing, and I'm not trying to make a weird sidestep here, but this is digital is kind of like this unicorn that companies, especially big investors, chase and they think it works. But there's really been no evidence it works outside of maybe a few webtoon comics. And considering the vast size of that platform, I find that to be not a great example of turning into actual money. And so, why do companies and big investors, especially money people, angel investors, whatever you want to call it, and corporations like Disney and Warner Brothers, why do they like it? Because one, you don't have to print, you don't have to pay for paper, you don't have to pay for shipping, and you don't have to split your money up with distributors or comic book shops. This thing gets all around that, but if they think they can dip their toe into physical print through and run it through Diamond, they probably will. So this is kind of a cake and eat it too, but they're putting digital first. The problem with going digital first in anything, and I've done digital first comics. I wrote and drew some Legends of the Dark Knight stuff at DC Comics. The problem with digital first is it's basically already on the internet and kind of pirated to hell on some website. So it's hard to go from digital to actually selling the book. So but this model looks good in front of people on paper. The math looks great. You're cutting out all the middlemen. You can actually sell less and make more money. And, they're really leaning on these creators to bring their audience to this. But herein lies the problem with these type of things. I'm going to say the same thing with Scott Snyder with his Amazon thing. Did Scott Snyder, and I'm going to use him as an example here, but this goes for any of these creators, did Scott Snyder actually have these fans, or were they Batman fans? So what Amazon may see, like the top American comic book writer who happens to be on Batman. Now, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, what's making those numbers work? The sad truth of it is, there are people that still buy Batman when he left. James Tynion came on and the run sold well. So obviously people were there for Batman. Now, do some of those people come over to Snyder? Sure, maybe. They learn to love him and they're going to follow him on other things he does. But in the case of Jimmy Palmiotti, and now I'm going to use him as an example, are people who liked Harley Quinn going to follow his Zestworld stuff? I don't know. Harley Quinn has a lot of fans, but there's a lot of Harley Quinn stuff to buy, just same as Batman. There's a lot of buying options for these characters. So to think the people that just happen to read your books, are going to follow you over, not so much. Now, I would feel better about this if these were star artists. If you went back from the 90s and you had Todd McFarlane, you had Rob Liefeld, you had Jim Lee. So at that point, you could say, well, Spider-Man was selling Todd McFarlane and X-Men was selling Jim Lee. It was actually their drawing style that were dominating the characters in a way. Following a writer is kind of a hard thing to do when it comes from these flagship IP characters. Following an artist that put their unique stamp on that character, that's kind of another thing altogether. And I think time will tell on this, but me personally, I've never seen anything good come out of digital comics. I'm not saying they don't work. Just in all my years in publishing, I've heard tons of people at DC talk about digital initiatives, digital first initiatives, and they rarely ever work. But they always 100%, 110% of the time look great on paper, especially as a business model, because of, outside of actually paying the creators to do the work. There's no no printing, no storage. You have to understand, you have to store these effing books. You have to get them on trucks. You have to get them in the mail. There's shipping, all of this stuff. And then a comic book shop wants part of the money off the cover price. So, if you could actually, in theory, in digital, sell less and make 100% more or tons more money profit. So this doesn't surprise me that all these creators fleeing the mainstream market as it burns down are looking at digital initiatives. Anyways, guys, I got to point out, no digital initiative here. Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex get creeping on up to $240,000. Please look down below. See the link. You feel like backing this book, get yourself a physical copy. Looking to ship this fall. Now I'll leave you guys with the trailer for Inglorious Rex.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain.